Welcome, everyone. I'm Louis Ricard, host of the SubSummit Pitch Competition, which is taking place this year in Dallas, Texas on May 31st. Thank you all for joining us today, because today is a great day to speak with one of our very, very special pitch competition judge and someone who's going to host a very, very specific and exclusive workshop at SubSummit. It's Brian McMahon, CEO of Expert Dojo, a venture capitalist as well. Brian, thank you so much for coming and talking with us today.
My pleasure. Great to be here. I'm looking forward to getting in front of all these wonderful subscription businesses.
And you've been there for quite a while with SubSummit. This is going to be your third year judging the pitch competition, and you've seen quite a wide array of opportunities as an investor. So this is very exciting. We're excited to have 10 semifinalists compete in the first round, 10 more in the second round. But I want to talk to you about something we're doing that's brand new this year, and it's in partnership with Expert Dojo. It's a wonderful startup workshop. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
So startups in general have one major problem, always, right? And there are many aspects to that problem where what will cause the problem, but there's only ever one problem. A startup, especially from an investor's perspective, needs to be able to grow a company to get to a certain amount of revenue, to be a return for an investor and to be a return for a startup, right? Nobody's going to buy your company unless you're doing a couple of $100,000 a month in revenue. And if you can get to a couple of $1 million a month in revenue, then you are going to live a wonderful life, right? So what is the only thing that stops you getting to that level? It's the growth itself. And what's the challenge with the growth? Well, there's so many challenges with growth. And it's so difficult for an individual to be able to arrive right here at the beginning and say, I want to grow it all the way up to here, because there's so many points to take into account. So we wanted to help folks with that this time around, rather than just judging startups and looking at startups and saying, hey, you're good, you're bad, you're growing, you're not growing. We thought, why don't we just get some of the smartest minds at the conference into a room and actually try and find all of the aspects of growth and brainstorm the entire room, whereby we can take everybody's collective conscious and everybody's collective information that they have together. So it's going to be a fantastic workshop. We're going to look at all of the growth things that work. We're going to look at the stuff that doesn't work. We're going to look at the aspects to growth. Expert Dojo ourselves, yes, we are a venture capital. Yes, we invest in companies, but in reality, we're growth hackers. So growth for us is second nature. So every single person who's in that room will walk away with absolute direct benefit and skills to be able to grow their businesses as soon as they leave.
And, this workshop, by the way, Brian, like usually you only award the winner of the pitch competition, this year's prize package is $50,000 in cash and prizes. But this is open for all semifinalists and finalists and select applicants as well. So can you tell us about what the energy is going to feel like for all these participants and all these pitch competitors to be in the same room as marketing mentors, your Expert Dojo team, and other venture capitalists?
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing with just experts in general is that people believe that the folks who have the titles and the folks in the organizations, whether they're marketing managers or everybody else, that they have all the answers. But the real truth is the answers is inside the startups themselves. They just don't have all of the answers. So by bringing a great number of startups into a room, and by forcing everybody to contribute. And this is what I want to be clear. If you are a passive person, you like taking in information, you're quiet, you don't contribute, and you really want to get the very best information you can, go to a different conference, because this is not the one for you. This room is for people who firmly believe that the collective knowledge helps everybody rise above what they would be able to do so themselves. So the folks coming into that room are going to know two things. The first thing is that they want to learn from 50 or 100 other great individuals who have walked the same path as them, but they've walked it in different ways and learned different things. And number two, that they will have something to contribute, and they will be asked to contribute something which will be of use to the rest of the room. And look, there are so many areas that we can look into with growth. We can look at your brand. We can look at your purpose. We can look at your vision. We can look at the personal brands, the key opinion leader status that you're building up. We can look at your tactics. We can look at your outreach. We can look at your affiliate relationships, your partnership relationships, your direct mail relationships. There are hundreds of channels and just as many methodologies to be able to maximize how you deal with those channels. And so every single person in that room is going to talk their personal journey so that you, the subscription based business who wants to grow, can leave the room with the very best skills that you require to be able to actually do stuff straight away.
I think you make a fantastic point here, Brian. It's all about collaboration, right? That's what SubSummit is built on. That's what SubSummit's foundation is. And the fact that we can take startups that are just getting started in the industry and industry experts and veterans that have been here for years, decades, to be in one room and collaborate, share ideas on how to grow the space, but also the brands forward is just amazing. And now, Brian, I know you're an investor at heart, right? This opportunity is free, really, right? Because all you have to do is apply, and if you get selected, you will be a part of this workshop. How would you quantify and compare this investment compared to, let's say, running social media ads or investing in SEO or investing in anything else? What is that investment like for these startups?
So, first of all, the moment you pay money for anything, whatever that channel is that you're going after, is the moment that you have enough expertise to be able to make a choice that that's the right thing to spend money on. And most of you don't have that expertise. It's just that simple. It's very hard to grow a company. If you already had a unicorn, if you already had $1 billion business, then you wouldn't be listening to this in the first place, and you wouldn't be at this conference wondering how you're going to grow your company. So let's just start from a very direct reality. Everybody needs to learn from everybody else, and everybody needs to get stronger, and nobody has all of the answers. So you need to build your baseline knowledge so you can make the right decisions. Just spending money is a fool's errand. You need to make sure that, first of all, you're in a position that you can spend it wisely. So I would firmly say, look, I do this because I like to help startups. I'm not going into this room with people because I believe I'm going to find the next great investment in there. I'm going into this room with people because I've had the privilege of investing in over 250 startups over the last 4 years. And I've had the privilege of not only just watching those startups, but assisting them through our growth hacking organization. There's nothing for us in this. We don't sell services. Nobody can hire us for marketing. There's nothing like that there. There's just our expertise we're bringing in the room. So if I'm going to go to the trouble of actually going into that room, working with those people, helping everybody be able to build strategies themselves, I want everybody to do the same thing. And this will work either well or not well, depending on the folks that are taking part. If you come into the room from a position of, I have a value to give and I'm going to contribute with that value to everybody else, then it will be a fabulous session, unrivaled by anything else out there, because it is entirely collaborative and contributory, right? But if people go into the room without that attitude, well, first of all, it'll be a very direct conversation with me. But number two, you won't get anything out of the session, neither will anybody else. So this is not about walking away inspired. It's not about walking away feeling, I feel great about what I heard. This is about walking away with real advice based on what other companies are doing today to be successful, that you can emulate, copy, plagiarize, and share your great ideas so that you can make more money and that your family does better from this decision to start off your own business that you made.
Sounds to me like a no-brainer, Brian, but you put it perfectly. Now, as I mentioned, you've been with SubSummit for quite a while. This is going to be your third year judging the live final round of the pitch competition. Tell me about those last 2 years. Like, why does the SubSummit pitch competition stand out to you? Why is it an event you want to return to?
There's lots of reasons. Firstly, I love the organizing team. I think the organizing team really care about early stage startups. I really care about early stage startups. I believe it's the genesis of really our embracing what we can do in the world and being able to actually be the creative beings that we were meant to be. So I love that. And I think that subscription based businesses are really ground zero where it all begins. Like literally everybody can start as subscription based businesses. There's already a process in place, there's already a structure in place. Like we can already begin and a beginning and a middle and an end. And so I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful place for people to be able to start off companies and grow their companies and have really strong companies that can just bring phenomenal things to the world. And I think the conference really does a fantastic job in building that community together and just having everybody in that collaborative space in the first place. So that's why it was such a no-brainer even doing this additional workshop, because It's what the conference does. It just adds a little bit of structure on the sales side.
Yeah, and I mean, that's amazing that you have such a good experience because, like you said, we care about startups and we also care about enterprise-like companies. And the goal is to inspire everyone in the subscription industry to grow and unlock their full potential, right? And there's nothing like quite like the startup potential, right? Because you're starting from ground zero. And I wanted to ask you about this. Compared to the regular startups, what does the recurring revenue business model, how do investors look at that when looking at startups and looking at pitches? Does that stand out at all to you? And if so, why?
So the answer is in really the name, because trying to find a new client every single day is really, really, really hard. It's just hard. Like startup is hard at the beginning, right? And if we look at the percentage of success within startup, it's extremely low. It's a very brave endeavor for the outcome that normally comes to most folks. And when you're continually looking to sell a new person every single day, it's really difficult. When you have recurring revenue in a business, then that means it's really testament to once you have that customer in the first place, you're not keeping the customer. Every month they're going to come back, and every month they're going to buy something off you. And most of the months it's going to be the same thing. And you just have to do one thing, and that is provide the most exceptional widget that that person can get in the category that you're in. That's all you have to do. So really, even when we bring it back into what the workshop is about, the key to everything in recurring revenue businesses is to make sure that you can acquire the customer at the lowest possible upfront cost. That's it. And once you do that, and you have thousands and tens of thousands of customers who are paying you every single month, you have the most wonderful lifestyle business you can possibly want. You just got to get there in the first place. So all investors love recurring revenue. We just need to make sure that you can build it first.
I think that's a great, encouraging message to everyone out there who's starting with this kind of model and also who's advancing the subscription space forward. Now, Brian, when you look at your experience and when you look at what you've seen on stage from now 8 finalists, right? 4 finalists in 2021, 4 finalists in 2022 during the pitch competition. Obviously, there's a process to get there, right? 2 rounds, semifinals, virtually. Do you have any advice for our current applicants right now or the people wondering if they should, how to stand out in this application process?
First of all, stand out in this application process. Everybody looks at the same Shark Tank, the same videos, the same YouTube, and they copy the same process. Most startups think in a thing called Horizon 1, right? We look at Horizon 3. Horizon 3 is that incredible place that you end up going to. It is not the place that you're in today. You cannot inspire people if you don't have the vision and the purpose of a Horizon 3. Like, and if you want to know what that feels like, there's some wonderful in the early days when Elon Musk was still a terrible speaker. But when he didn't have quite so much money and Tesla and SpaceX were tanking, and he spoke about the evils of fossil fuels and how the world needed to be in a place where clean energy was not just something that people would want, but an absolute basic necessity for everybody. And this was way before we had Teslas on the road everywhere. It was way before we had charging stations, way before people spoke about cleaner energy in the homes. But he spoke about that Horizon 3 like it was something that was there today and built a cult community around that. Too many people think too small. You're giving up everything. You're risking your relationships. You're risking your heartbeats. You're doing such an incredible thing for the world. And then you think small. Don't think small. Think huge. Think about what you can become in the future and then describe that to everybody around you. Because without the purpose and the vision, it's not just that you won't get the investors. Who cares about the investors? You won't get the customers. You won't get the staff. You won't get the people around you to help you actually build the dream that you're trying to get the vision for. Purpose, vision, Horizon 3.
And if you think that's insightful, you get a whole workshop with him, and not just with him, with an expert dojo team, with marketing mentors here to help you build your brand from the ground up and take it to where you want to go. Once again, this opportunity is completely free for you guys. All you have to do is go apply to the pitch competition right now to seize this opportunity, meet with Brian and thousands of other consumer brands to really unlock your full potential. Brian, thank you so much for coming in today and speaking with us. We look forward to seeing you in Dallas this year, and have a great one.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.